Kevin, when we first began Elite Heat like 2, 3 years ago, if you had told me that on a Friday night SmackDown, December 2023, I'd be sitting there watching my screen saying Cody Rhodes, the top babyface star of the company, CM Punk, the biggest wrestling draw of the past 10 years, face to face in the middle of the show, getting like OMG, holy bleep reactions. I wouldn't believe you. I'd think you were pulling my leg, having a laugh. But that's Kevin. That's where we're at. We're going to get to all of it as far as how we've got there in 2023 and all that. But first, Kevin, how you doing, pal?
I'm great, pal. It's a Friday night. It's like 10:30 p.m. for me. This time last week, I was at the club getting lit. But tonight, I'm here for the listeners, pal. For the great listeners. Spotify Wrapped came out. Speaking of the great listeners, what a transition, pal. From clubs to Spotify Wrapped. I'm the king of podcasting, pal. So, now, we had, I think it was 11 people that had us as their number one podcast on Spotify. And it was neither one of us. We didn't listen to our podcast that much, you and I collectively. So there's 11 people out there that listen to us as their number one podcast. That is incredible. Thank you all. So many amazing statistics. The Spotify numbers are going crazy recently, thanks to Pepsi Phil. Shout out to Pepsi Phil, the biggest draw in wrestling. You said the past decade. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe he is. But man, it's crazy. Thank you all so much for listening. 5-star reviews on Spotify, please. If you hear us. Apple Podcasts, 5 stars. I mean, that helps us get us into the algorithm, and yeah, that's what we need. That's what we do it for, pal.
Kevin, yeah, and those Spotify rap numbers you mentioned. So for the listeners' context, Kevin sent me these the other day, and I don't listen to our show on Spotify or the audio platforms. I'll watch us back on YouTube. I'll leave YouTube comments. That's all I do. So we've got, I think it was 20, 25, somewhere in that ballpark, who have us as like our top 5 podcasts they listen to.
Yes.
Which is nuts.
Crazy.
I mean, that's insane. Hopefully in 2024, we can just keep building on that. That's a really good base. You guys support us, listen to us, make our show possible. I listen to our shows back and think, this is a pretty good podcast, I like to think. Not to, toot the Elite Heat horn, pal, but I think, we're going along with what WWE is doing pretty well. We're producing good content. They're producing good content. And there's content to laugh at with good old pal Tony in Jacksonville. So we'll get to all of it, Kevin. We have a loaded run sheet, as we always do. This is the first of our big year in review podcast shows. We've got Elite Heat 25, awards, big calls for 2024. Today we're starting here, though, Kevin. Anything else you want to say, or we can just jump right into it?
Let's get to it, pal. 2023 has been a hell of a year. I'm ready to uncover it all. But let's talk about it from top to bottom, pal.
Yeah, so Kevin, I want to start off with WrestleMania season. Now, we're not going to go show by show with this. We're not going to review, oh my God, and in the second week of January, this event happened. In the third week, this event. How I've done this, how I put this together, WrestleMania season generally, I thought was quite a success this year. I think across the board, this stretch I'm talking about, it's Royal Rumble through about Backlash. So about January through April, that general sort of time period. We're lumping a few things together, but just generally it should be all fine. I want to ask you, Kevin, I mean, obviously it was super successful. They broke all sorts of records in WWE. You could make a list of all of them. Triple H went over it in the WrestleMania 39 post-show press conference, as he always does. He reads off all the records they've broken, which I find hilarious. We set the record for most attendance, most net revenue, most merchandise, most Cody t-shirts sold. I love Triple H post-show press conferences. Anyway, with that being said, Kevin, general question for you, just to kick it off. WrestleMania 39, that was the big event of 2023. Just how good was it this year?
And it was a great WrestleMania. It really was, honestly. Aside from the finish of night 2, that left a lot of people divided. I think that finish has aged poorly, I want to say. I don't know how it's going to age in the next 5 to 10 years, but as we get further from it, it's not looking so great. Cody is single-handedly the biggest star on the show, and he's been the biggest star on the show for all of 2023, basically. He's the most box office, most must-see, pal. But overall, the show is great. I mean, what can you say? That the tag team title match main event, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, that was like a great match. There was so much good stuff going on. I don't know. What did you think? Like, I believe that when we reviewed it, we gave it like a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10, if I remember correctly.
We gave it an 8. I think we both gave it an 8
Yeah.
or maybe an 8.25. It was like an 8 out of 10, like legitimately really good WrestleMania. To me, this felt like WrestleMania, which might
Yes.
sound dumb, but Kevin, in recent years, I mean, we recount this every time we say it. WrestleMania 38, even a year ago, was so bad we nearly just discontinued the podcast because there was nothing to talk about. It was Roman versus Brock 7. It was Charlotte versus Ronda. It was dreadful, Kevin. And then that didn't feel like WrestleMania, even though there was a Steve Austin match that was great and there were some positives, but it didn't really have that WrestleMania feel in my eyes. 37, you were there. That was COVID Mania. 36 was
Hell of a
the
show.
real COVID Mania in front of no one. 35, way too long. 34, you can go through them. I think 33 was the last one that had a proper like WrestleMania feel, where they had the amazing set, the pretty good card, company and some momentum at that time because of SmackDown success around there. But yeah, this WrestleMania 39, I loved it. Looking back, yes, there's the stuff at the ending. We got a question on that coming up. We'll address how that's aged, as you mentioned. But generally, I have nothing but really good things to say about it, to be honest. Yes, that being said, yes, Shane McMahon's knee exploded. Yes, some of the booking on night 2 was unnecessary. But I look at that IC title triple threat match. I've gone back and watched that back like 5 to 6 times now. I still just watched that in amazement of what Drew, Sheamus, and Gunther did. That's the best match of, the career for, I'd say, all of them. I love that match. And then Logan Paul, Seth Rollins, and Cena Theory wasn't the best, but there's lots
KSI,
of
pal. Don't forget KSI is a walking prime bottle.
just ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, so much positives, and yeah, Roman Cody was great. Yeah.
Can I take the gloves off just for a moment on Adam Cole?
Oh, here we go.
Can I do that
Here
just
we
for a
go.
moment?
Go
So
for it.
you remember there were like interviews coming out with Triple H and Edge where they were kind of being very cordial and respectful. And basically, if you read between the lines, what they were saying was that what Edge was saying is that he was being underutilized, and what Triple H was saying was like, "Hey, we're giving this guy a lot of stuff, and he's still not happy." It's essentially the translation of what they were saying. How could Edge, Adam Copeland, a Hall of Famer, first ballot Hall of Famer, certified legend, top 12 guy of all time until the match graphic was made by an AEW intern, then he got bumped down to top 15 by me. How could a guy like that come out and say, hey, I was underutilized when he was in the co-main event of WrestleMania 39 Night 2 in a Hell in a Cell match? Granted, it was against Fergie, but you and I are not big fans of Fergie, but to be objective, Fergie is presented as a big star on WWE TV in 2023. So he's in the co-main event with a big star in a Hell in a Cell match, and he said he still got the nerve to say, I'm being underutilized, pal. Just egregious. Absolutely egregious.
Well, Kevin, and yeah, the thing what made WrestleMania so great this year, and as they will continue with 40, I'm sure, 41 going forward, the entrances were insane. Dominic and Rey Mysterio, as I've said a few times this year, it's the year in review. I'll repeat it because this is our year in review show. Rey Mysterio's entrance at WrestleMania 39 is, in my eyes, one of the greatest entrances of all time. That had everything.
Yeah.
Easily. The callbacks to Eddie in 05, the low rider, Snoop Dogg, coming out with the Snoop Dogg song, and then Ray coming out the way it was just incredible. Dom's entrance was nearly as good as well. Coming out, it was on brand, it was on point. He had like the police car. It was just so much was well done. Roman's entrance with the grand pianos. Cody's felt huge. Edge, Adam Copeland, pal, your favorite wrestler, coming out with like the Brood entrance, which Wrestling Gifts, Superkick Studios, our friends, pal. They were saying live that was one of the coolest things they've ever seen. Like that Brood Edge entrance, that was nuts. Balor's entrance was quite cool. It was like a full demon one. Like, so much to like. You thinking, pal?
Do you care to talk about the opening match of WrestleMania 39? Do you want to mention that one?
Well, the match that I infamously said in our debate is to watch the main event night 1. I opened the agenda. I was like, Kevin, forget the Usos and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. Forget it. That can go on night 2 to open. The main event of night 1, I said this. I can't believe I said this. The main event needs to be washed Cena, who hasn't won a match in 4.5 years, versus Austin Theory. That I think, in hindsight, that is the worst Elite Heat take of the year. I'll line up to that. That was a honker. That was crap. That match happened. There was cheating. There was some biting in there, pal.
Nut
Cena.
shots.
Pal, an audible got called halfway through because the match was that bad. An audible got called, Kevin, in the opening of WrestleMania featuring John Cena, a Mount Rushmore star all time.
No, the audible got called 2 weeks out on an episode of Monday Night Raw when Cena obliterated Austin Theory on the mic. It was just like, bro, you're terrible. And Austin Theory was like, I'm Austin Theory. And Cena was like, yeah, I know, you suck, bro. And then John Cena went into a private meeting with Nick Khan and Triple H after that episode of Monday Night Raw and was like, yeah, that match that you had planned for us to go 28 minutes? No, we're going 14, bro. This guy sucks. That's literally, I'm quoting exactly what John Cena said to Triple H in a backstage meeting. That is word for word, verbatim what Cena said.
Yeah, incredible. And Kevin, just saying on the sort of WrestleMania theme, we'll keep it moving here. I'll ask this question here, which I'll answer myself first, then feel free to go ahead. Regarding what made WrestleMania season so good this year, because obviously, yeah, we're praising things, but what about it was so good? To me, and I'll mention this storyline as well, this needs to be mentioned, the Roman Sami Zayn thing really set the tone from the top of the card. This was a thing that had been going on for months and months and months. Sami and the Bloodline, Sami Roman. It was just an ongoing thing. Royal Rumble, they do that huge ending, Kevin, which I remember, yep, it was a predictable main event. Of course, Roman's going to beat Kevin Owens in that WWE Universal title match. Obviously, Reigns retains. They do a 15-minute cinema ending, pal. You got, Zayn, Owens, Usos there, Heyman sobbing with the lay on. Roman's he's scolding them, and then there's the turn, and it was great. They do the Elimination Chamber, Kevin. This, I will say now, not to give away my, award votes for the next week or two, my favorite segment of the year, personally speaking, is this the best segment? Is it the best promo? I'm not saying that, but to me, my favorite segment of the year, Sami Zayn, SmackDown, Montreal, the day before the Elimination Chamber. When his music hit, it was like that old theme song for the first time in years. He comes out to like a hero's welcome. It was like, Kevin, it was like a war general emerged back from the depths of battle, and he was being cheered, and there was 18,000 people in the arena screaming. Sami Zayn can get a word in for 7 minutes. He was shoot crying, pal. Sami Zayn was shoot crying on national WWE television as Nick Khan sat in the boardroom and counted money. Kevin, that was on the great segments. Then Sami Zayn swore in French and said he's going to win the title tomorrow night in Montreal. This is his WrestleMania. To me, that was my favorite segment. I loved it. That set the tone really well. Were all the storylines god tier this past WrestleMania season? I mean, not really. Some were good, some were okay. Ray and Dom was probably the highlight of the build. That was a great storyline in the build. But yeah, I think that set the tone really well, pal. Nick Khan counting money as Sami Zayn swore in French in Montreal.
Oh man, that video package, that hype package was great. Who was the guy that narrated it? That MMA journalist from Montreal? What is his
Ariel
name?
Helwani. Ariel Helwani.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love Ariel Helwani. Great guy. Yeah, for me, I'm gonna say what made WrestleMania season special was the return of Cody. I mean, we had missed Cody. He had been gone from like July of 2022. Then it was like the worst kept secret that Cody was coming back at the Royal Rumble. Here he is, pal. Here's Pharaoh, QT Marshall, Brandy. They're all here. The Nightmare Family, pal. Cody's marching down to the ring like he's 1998 Stone Cold Steve Austin with the Steve Weisers, pal. And he reclaimed his spot at the throne, pal. Won the Royal Rumble, pointed to the WrestleMania sign, and here we are, pal. The road to WrestleMania. It was great to see Cody back. He was looking great. And he started his reign of terror, pal, as a top star in WWE in 2023. And beyond, absolutely, pal. So, yeah, I mean, it's short and sweet. Just having Cody back, the pure presence of Cody Rhodes made WrestleMania season special, as well as all the things that you described with Sami Zayn. And, of course, the Rey and Dominic feud. Let's throw that in there, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that was awesome. You got, like, Rhea Ripley and Dominic Mysterio interrupting Rey Mysterio at his wife's Valentine's Day dinner. I mean, come on. That's priceless comedy. That's A+ tier comedy from WWE. Why can't we get something like that with Roman Reigns? Roman Reigns like bullying people at his house in his mansion in Pensacola. He's like telling the guy that's valeting his car. He pulls up in his Lambo and he's like throws the keys at some guy that's like job scared. And he's like, "Bro, park my car, bro." And then the guy's like shaking and then he crashes the car and Roman Reigns like beats his ass. Like, why can't we get something like that?
it's that right there, which is why I stand by the 2023 has been a completely wasted year of Roman Reigns' prime. Nonetheless, one more thing I want to mention before we move on to, I want to discuss the Raw after Mania before we do a little bit of a Cody Roman thing. I just want to discuss this. Shout out Elimination Chamber. I mentioned it was Sammy and Roman. That was cool. Really good show across the board in Montreal. This was a big thing. The Elimination Chamber match. Montez Ford does his big Spider-Man, big dive off from the top of the chamber. That was an OMG, holy bleep moment. I was at KFC at the time. I literally missed it. I got back, our whole chat, all our supporters, everyone from Elite Heat, Twitter, the whole thing was erupting. OMG, OMG, the best spot I've seen in years. OMG, I love watching that live. That was incredible. I'm sitting there going, great. I was sat at KFC waiting for a 16-year-old to put together my Zinger box, and I missed that. Brilliant. Phenomenal. Anyway.
Where do you want to take this now, pal? Do you want me to ask you the hard-hitting question, pal? The hard-hitting question of the podcast?
Yeah, go ahead. All
right, so, pal, we're looking at it. We're 9 months removed, right, from WrestleMania 39. Did Paul Levesque, I'm going to do an impression of Paul Levesque here. Did Paul Levesque make the right decision by doing this here, pal? Hold on. Bear with me just for a moment, okay? All right, hold on. Bear with me. It's a great question, pal. All right. Boom. Okay.
So, pal, for our audio listeners, Kevin's writing right now. I think he's got I can't quite see here. He's got, I think, a pen. I think he's going to let us know in a moment, pal. You writing?
Yep, I'm working on it. Hold on.
Oh my god! This question. This is going to be blistering. Are you doing what I think you're doing? Are you doing a Paul Levesque with the notepad?
Yes, I am. Okay, so Triple H did this here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I don't know if you can see it. Oh, is it there? Is it there, pal?
It's got WrestleMania 39. Roman Reigns defeated Cody Rhodes. WWE undisputed title match. Yeah.
Yes. So Triple H did that there. Triple H wrote, Roman Reigns is going to defeat Cody Rhodes for the WWE Undisputed Universal Championship at WrestleMania 39. Now, we're looking back at it, 9 months later. Did Triple H make the right decision by doing that right there with his right hand, a pen, and a piece of paper?
Kevin, Triple H's right hand made the wrong move by doing that. I said it at the time. I said it the week after, said the month after, said it the month after that, said it at SummerSlam, said it in October, said it in November, said it now. I'm beating this drum till I go blue in the face until we see the outcome of Roman's reign. It was the wrong move. Roman's 2023, as you hint at with what you just said there, how they could be doing fun segments with him beating up a Lamborghini driver, him at Samoan Thanksgiving, having a confrontation with some random Samoan uncle. They could do segments where Roman Reigns goes to visit the islands of Samoa. Do like a 4-week video segment. Like, Kevin, if Roman's going to be off for a month, as he was in September, July, all these months Roman just wasn't there at all, have a 4-week set of segments. Roman visits his hometown. Roman visits his island, Samoa. 3 different segments during each SmackDown. Roman Reigns, disrespecting people in his, Samoa, but, seeing his relatives, having interactions in Samoa, anything. Being the tribal chief, getting his lay redone, abusing some poor seamstress who's making minimum wage, who's putting his lay together, just barking at her. I don't know. Anything. Instead, Kevin, Roman won and then did nothing with it. Now, it was another WrestleMania main event. Roman Reigns won. Did this do anything for his legacy, him winning this match? No. Would Cody have having gone over at this event, done more for Roman Reigns and more for Cody Rhodes, both of them? Yes. It would have been much more interesting during the Bloodline Civil War if Jey Uso is barking at Roman Reigns, you ain't got your belt anymore, you little bitch. You ain't got your belt. I'll beat your ass. I'll pin you too. Cody beat you, I'll beat you too. You're nothing. That would have been way better. I've seen the discourse since. Oh, well, Roman without the title, it wouldn't have worked. Yeah, it would have. Stop. It's a prop. It's all it is. It would have been just as good as Roman crying. Kevin, I'll leave my answer there. This is something we could talk about blue in the face. That's my answer, pal. Objectively, is the wrong move.
There you go, pal. For time's sake, I'll keep my answer short and sweet.
Yep.
I think at the end of the day, Triple H made the right move with his right hand and the pen.
Okay.
I think when Roman and Pepsi Phil are feuding over the undisputed Universal Championship with Paul Heyman crying in the middle of it, give me money, pal. Just saying. Now, that being said,
Yep.
did Triple H know that CM Punk would be in WWE?
No.
When he booked that match? No, he didn't. So I don't know where things were gonna go. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know where this is gonna go. I'm still in the camp of like let it play out. I think for right now is the best decision. It's not aging greatly, like I said, but it's still. I think it's still the best decision. Cody's a mammoth right now for merchandise, and as a babyface, doesn't need a championship. Cody's he's just great. He's just Cody Rhodes, pal. He's a big star. So I'll go to the next question, pal. Has bringing in the new World Heavyweight Championship, the championship that was basically presented on TV as a, hey, nobody's good enough to beat Roman. Here's a second title. We created that so Raw can have a championship. Here, let's give it to Rollins. Has that championship been a good move?
I'll be honest, it's been fine. Like, I still feel like it's early to comment on this. It hasn't been presented as it's like the OMG big deal title. You look at what they did. I mean, Rollins beat. They won there was a tournament. Rollins beat Styles in Saudi. He won the title. Cool, good match. Then he feuded with Judgment Day for months, and we did Rollins Balor a few times. I mean, the matches were okay. No match was that great. It was like 3-star matches from memory. Like fine, okay matches, heaps of interference. Rollins Nakamura wasn't bad, wasn't great. You know, Nakamura was like, your back was injured 3 years ago. I kicked you in the back. I'm going to beat you. And Rollins is ending pay-per-views, crying, sobbing, holding his back, needing a stretcher like he's Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 02. Just outrageous. And now they're doing stuff with, Drew and Jey Uso, and they're teasing the Punk feud. So, Kevin, to keep this answer somewhat brief, has bringing the new World Heavyweight title been a good move? After seeing how they've used Roman Reigns this year, i.e. hardly at all, you forget he's even employed. Yes, at least they've had a world championship on the show each week. It's been a positive in that regard. And also, I know people will probably be watching this wanting us to address this. Raw after Mania sucked. We know we're not going to address Raw after Mania. It was bad. Vince McMahon, okay, he's evil. We're not going to address that. Kevin, your answer as far as the World Heavyweight title, thoughts?
It's fine. It's fine. It pretty much echoing what you would say, what you said. I mean, fine. Rollins as the world champion is good. Rollins is doing his damnedest to make that belt prestigious. You have to establish a championship, and there's really no better way to do that than put it on the arguably the best wrestler in the company, the top guy, the guy that's been there through and through it all. Who's about to main event WrestleMania 40 with Pepsi Phil, pal. So yeah, I'd love to see it, pal. Next question.
Just real quick on that. And we did a whole episode, like the lineage of the big gold belt, like back in May when they were about to introduce this, which is a great idea from your part. That got good plays, pal. We did that episode and we spent like the whole thing, or at least I did a rant. You were discussing this. That belt, the big gold belt, the World Heavyweight title they had 12 years ago, it was like a hot shot belt. There was a title change every 4 weeks, and we criticized them for that. Now Seth Rollins has held it for perhaps 7 months. It's going to be 10 months at least. So no, can't fault it. Kevin, I'll ask you now. As far as the big stars, the breakouts of 2023, there's one guy who seemed to break out. And
yeah. Is LA Knight the breakout star of 2023? Say yeah.
Yeah, pal. Is LA Knight objectively the breakout star of 2023?
Absolutely. From a WWE standpoint, 1000%. You could argue, I don't even know who you could argue. I was going to say you could argue Gunther, but Gunther broke out in 2022. I don't know. The Miz, pal, he's doing his 2015 Cena impression, pal. Doing monkey flips and cross bodies and springboards. The Miz, the breakout star, I don't know. No, there's really no competition. Damian Priest, I guess, would be maybe like a distant second. I don't really know. If it's not LA Knight, I don't know who the breakout star is of WWE in 2023. He's been incredible. This has been the year of LA Knight. Honestly, he's a top 3 merch mover. He's moving more merch than John Cena. He's right up there with Roman Reigns. You gotta tip your hat to him. Gotta give it up to the guy, man. He could have gave up so many times, just floundering in TNA and then in NXT and then getting fired from WWE and then being brought back. Guy's been through it all. He's been through the ringer.
No, he's a legitimate star. There's no doubt the amount of meetings he would have had with brass executives, the higher ups, being like, "What do I need to do? What do you want me to fix and tweak in my game?" And he made those tweaks time after time. He broke through the glass ceiling this year, Kevin. I mean, we back in June were like, "How far is this going to go? Like, is this just a US title guy? Is this a main event guy? Can he really move that merch? Is this a flash in the pan?" It's now mid-December and he's still absolutely cooking. He's on screen. The crowd's going nuts. So, no, all credit to LA Knight. He's phenomenal. He's fantastic. One of the highlights this year, consistently super entertaining. He even owned Roman Reigns in at least one of those segments they did. Quite literally barged past him, roasted him on the mic, owned him in the segment. So, there you go.
Yeah, I want to see him in the ring with CM Punk. I want to see a promo battle between those two. Punk mentioned him tonight on SmackDown. Punk did the whole thing, and that was cool. Just seeing Punk do that. Yeah, that you gotta see a Punk mentioning you in his promo, where he we'll talk about this later on. I guess we'll do like an extra or something about CM Punk's promo, where he just cut Seth Rollins to shreds, cut Roman Reigns to shreds, and he's mentioned LA Knight in there in the middle of that promo. That's pretty big, man. That's big real estate, if you ask me.
Well, Kevin, he's right about Seth Rollins. I mean, we'll do an extra on this.
We'll wait.
Yeah. Anyway, now transitioning, those are like the big first half of the year, just generally with LA Knight, the big sort of some of the big things. We'll get to more, but just generally, Kevin, one of the other big things was the TKO, the Endeavor, the business side of it. I'll just ask you. I mean, obviously, so what happened and what have you made of it so far with the business side?
From a business standpoint, essentially, Vince McMahon sold WWE to Endeavor, who is the owner, the company that owns UFC. Like, they're a streaming conglomerate, and I think they do radio and some other stuff. So now we got WWE and UFC basically being this like company under one umbrella, which is kind of crazy. We haven't seen any nuts like cross promotion or anything like that, and I don't think we will. I think they're gonna be ran as separate entities. Seems like the brass is smart enough to realize that WWE and UFC fans do not intermingle very well. So that's good. I'm glad we haven't seen Nate Diaz cutting a promo on LA Knight. No, nobody wants to see that. I think I speak on behalf of like 90% of wrestling fans when I say that. But I mean, from a standpoint of like as a fan, I mean, nothing's really changed. I mean, there were rumors that came out a couple days ago about Ari. It wasn't. I don't know who it was. It wasn't Ari, but one of the executives, big time guys at Endeavor, was like, "Oh, we got to cut back on WWE house shows, pal." And that's really all we've seen so far. Will we see some more changes like that? Will we see some more suits that don't understand wrestling telling Paul Levesque what to do from like a creative standpoint? Will we see a suit saying, "Hey, look, this guy Karrion Kross looks like a wrestler. He looks like someone I watched as a kid. I want Karrion Kross to be a star. Make him a star." Will we see stuff as ridiculous as that? I don't know. It hasn't gotten there yet. I hope it doesn't. Right now, it's been great, and not a lot has changed. It's pretty reminiscent of what WWE was before the sale when Triple H took over from SummerSlam 2022 to WrestleMania season. Been pretty much the same.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And I guess just quick follow up on that. You touched on this. We do our Triple H like every 6 months we sort of see where Triple H is at. We did this one about a year ago now. One in about SummerSlam time. Just quick follow up. I'll ask you. I mean, Triple H is now a year and a half in. He's fully cemented himself. The old regime's fully gone. It's all his guys. Vince McMahon hasn't been involved in well over a year properly, outside of the infamous Raw After Mania, pal. But really, it's been a whole year of Triple H. I mean, what are your thoughts now? It's been really 18 months. 2023 is the whole year of Triple H. What do you think of him running the shows? Like, what's your just general feeling of Triple H as head booker?
General feeling is pretty good feelings. Nothing really to like complain about. Nothing to be upset about. There's a little bit too much of like Johnny Gargano for my liking. And like Bronson Reed, guys like that. But I mean, Raw, there's 3 hours of Raw. You got to fill time somehow, some way.
Yeah.
Johnny Gargano's not winning the Royal Rumble and eliminating Damian Priest and guys way taller and bigger than him anytime soon. So I'm okay with Johnny Gargano coming out at 8:45 on a Monday night, having a 5-minute match. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, overall, Triple H has done, I would say, pretty well. I mean, the PLEs this year, this has been a banner year. 2023 has been a banner year for premium live events, pay-per-view events, whatever you want to call it. One of the best, I'd say, ever. 2023 is like a top 10 year, probably, for pay-per-views and from a WWE standpoint.
Yeah.
Look at like just all the 12 pay-per-view years that we've seen over the past 20 some odd years. 2023's got to stand out at near the top.
Yeah.
And yeah, Raw and SmackDown's been pretty watchable. I don't think anybody could. You could have like you could have God himself booking SmackDown and Raw every week. I don't think people are gonna be too compelled to watch a 3-hour show. Doesn't matter who's booking it. So yeah, Triple H has done great. It's refreshing to see like the end of the Vince era is over, pal. Like, just think about those moments in like, let's say late 2018 when Dean Ambrose is coming out with like a Walter White Breaking Bad mask, and he's like breathing hard. He's got chemicals, pal. Then he's getting injections. You know, he's telling Roman Reigns that, good, you got cancer, bro. You deserved it. Like, just some of the absolute like bottom of the barrel moments of the Vince McMahon regime towards the end when he kind of lost it.
Yeah.
We were just in a rut. It just felt like we were running in quicksand, and we were never gonna get out of it. And now here we are as wrestling fans, pal. What Triple H is giving us, is it great? Is it the best wrestling that you've ever seen? Maybe not, but it's pretty damn good.
Well, merchandise and numbers wise and attendances, I mean, it's showing. It's getting there. But remember, pal, Triple H sucks because his nose looks like a dick. Remember that. Triple H is bad. Okay. Anyway, I'll leave it there. No, I thought Triple H, he's done a great job. I think he has enough balance in his booking. Yes, it's obvious he likes Fergal. Yes, it's obvious he loves Johnny Gargano. Yes, he's a fan of, these sort of guys. That's cool. What we talked about 3 years ago when we do like collab videos, and I talk about on my channel, is like Triple H taking over. You thought, oh God, Johnny Gargano is going to be running around facing Adam Cole in every WrestleMania main event. Oh my God, no. But what Triple H was doing, as we've discussed in the years since, at the time he was catering to a specific audience. He knew what guys, what audience wanted. Now, as far as the head WWE role, he knows what guys the general WWE audience want to see, who should be pushed, who the big stars are, staggering the card accordingly. So now Triple H's done a great job this year. I don't care that his nose is big and looks like a dick. That doesn't mean he's a bad booker and a terrible person and he doesn't know what he's doing, because numbers speak for themselves. The records they're setting speak for themselves. Elimination Chamber, pal, damn near sold out. It's only 70, 75,000 of us over in Perth watching that show. I'm flying across the country to watch it, pal. 2018, they had Super Showdown, 5.5, 6 hours away in Melbourne. That show I didn't even consider for a second going to watch. Drive down to Melbourne to watch. I didn't even consider it. I'm right away trying to book tickets and fly to Perth to watch this. So tells you all you need to know. That being said, pal, you mentioned PLEs, the success of them, all that. I want to ask you, there are a bunch of good ones this year, but specifically, I mean, international ones I want to touch on. Those being Elimination Chamber and Backlash. Yes, there were Saudi shows as well. Those were just pretty solid, but specifically Backlash and Elimination Chamber, I love.
Money in the Bank too. Don't forget that. Don't forget Money in the Bank.
That too. Oh my God, there's too many. There's too many, pal. What was your favorite international one, pal?
Backlash for me, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Roman Reigns wasn't on it, pal. We didn't need Roman Reigns.
We don't need Roman Reigns, period.
All we needed was Cody and Brock and Bad Bunny and Damian Priest. That's all we needed, pal. Yeah, that was a hell of a show. Zelina Vega getting her moment in the sun. Cody versus Brock was great. Bad Bunny versus Damian Priest, a show stealer. That's a match of the year candidate, in my opinion. I think that's a top 10 match of 2023. Sue me.
Yep.
Bad Bunny is, I mean, bro, like we've said it at the time. This is like Michael Jackson coming in like 1987 and having a great match with Macho Man Randy Savage or like Ricky Steamboat or something. You know, it's unheard of what Bad Bunny's doing from a celebrity standpoint. It's really like this dude is a musician. casually having a match of the year candidate. It's nothing like it we've ever seen before. The crowd was super hot through and through. I mean, they hadn't had a show in Puerto Rico, a pay-per-view since New Year's Revolution 05 or 06. It had been a long time, and it was more than overdue. I don't know why WWE hasn't gone to Puerto Rico. I mean, it's part of the United States. I don't know why they haven't gone there for a pay-per-view. Doesn't make any sense. But Elimination Chamber was great as well. Money in the Bank was great. They were all great. The Saudi show was great. Both the Saudi shows were great. Can't really complain either way. Whatever you want to choose.
No, absolutely. And yeah, the reason I asked favorite international PLE, we'll get to our just favorite PLEs and ranking them in one of our shows in the next few weeks. We'll get to that. There's plenty of stuff to do at the end of the year, pal. We'll get to it. And one more thing I want to shout out, just while we're bringing up all this 2023 stuff. Shout out Brock Lesnar. Worked the first 5 PLEs of this year. Was legitimately full time.
Yes.
The first 5 months of the year.
Yep.
People, just because it's Brock and just because of what happened in 2018, 2019, 2020, still associate him as a part-timer. He legitimately wasn't. He was there more than most regular full-time guys this year. He was on nearly every Raw for the first 5 months of the year. So shout out Brock, legend. And his daughter literally looks like him. It's scary. That's making the rounds. Anyway, Kevin, nuts. Kevin, I'll ask you first. Now,
oh god,
as far as this is a question straight out of your wheelhouse. You love saying the term banner years. Like there's a banner year. This is a Kevin term. Take a shot every time he says a banner year. Kevin, I ask you, with WWE for now, which 5 WWE stars, in no particular order, just this isn't your top 5 wrestlers, it's just who, in your opinion, had a banner year in 2023? Give us 5 in WWE.
Can I mention CM Punk? Does he qualify for this?
Yes.
CM Punk had a banner year. All right, pal. So first of all, let me just objectively state bluntly what CM Punk's 2023 looked like in wrestling. All right. From January to June, he sat back and rehabbed his shoulder that he injured while punching Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks from August 2022 backstage at All Out. He's sitting there cashing Tony Khan's sweet, sweet checks, rehabbing his shoulder from January to June. In July, he casually returns to AEW, gets a show created just for him on Saturday Night Live, AEW Collisions, created literally for CM Punk and his buddies, pal. CM Punk and his buddies collided on TNT, pal. And then, in August, this is backstage at the biggest show in AEW's history. AEW All In 2023. 90,000 people at Wembley Stadium in attendance. CM Punk punches out a rich kid, son of an actor in Hollywood. Punches him out, puts him in a headlock, scares Tony Khan, then opens the biggest show in AEW history with a grin on his face, and proceeds to wrestle Samoa Joe and have a great match. And he's not done there, pal. He gets fired with cause by Tony Khan. Then he shows up at Survivor Series in 2023. Shows up at Survivor Series, returns to WWE, breaks the internet, breaks WWEshop.com, breaks all these records, social engagement, the finger point with Triple H, one of the most iconic photos in wrestling history. I don't care, sue me. It's one of the most iconic photos in WWE wrestling history, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, CM Punk had a banner year. Just to rattle off some more, LA Knight, we already talked about him. LA Knight had a banner year. Cody, talked about him. He had a banner year. And then from there, I don't know. If we're going, you got Cody, you got Punk, you got LA Knight out of the way. Who else had a banner year in WWE? Logan Paul?
Yep. Gunther had one. Rhea Ripley had one. Becky Lynch had one. Sami Zayn had one.
Becky Lynch. Sami Zayn is a great one. Sami Zayn is great. I don't know about Becky Lynch. Her banner year was 2019, in my opinion.
I wouldn't. Big feuds with Lacey Evans and yeah, a WrestleMania main event Charlotte was shoehorned into, which broke the dislike record on WWE's YouTube. Sure. I'd say yeah, Becky Lynch, great. Jey Uso, he pinned Roman Reigns.
Yeah, Jey Uso, yeah.
Pinned Roman for the first time in 3.5 years. That's notable. People would say, Solo Sikoa to this point in his young career, a guy like that. So many wrestlers, Kevin, in WWE had a banner breakout year.
Yeah, I think Jey Uso's great. Sami Zayn, that's a great call out. Yeah, LA Knight, Cody, that's 4.
Yeah, Damian Priest had a great banner year, I'd say. Dominic Mysterio, even to his career. Dom
I'll
Mysterio
go
had
with
one.
those 5 right there. Dominic added to that. Go with that.
Even as like I'll admit this, I'm not a fan of him. Finn Balor, I think this was the best year of his career. The rest of his career has literally been either getting injured, being in just genuinely bad storylines, or I hurt my shoulder. Yes, they did that this year as well, but he did more. He was in a big spot all year. So even Balor had a banner year, Kevin. So many wrestlers.
Pal, did you know that Finn Balor wrestled Seth Rollins for the opportunity to be the first ever Universal Champion? Did you know that?
As I was saying, pal, so many WWE wrestlers had banner years.
Pal, great question for you right now. I have a blistering, just explosive, powerful question.
Okay.
Now, we're staying on the topic of banner years.
Mm-hmm.
Which 5 AEW wrestlers had banner years in 2023?
5 AEW. Strickland. Swerve Strickland. That's objectively one.
MJF. Tony
Yes.
Storm.
That's good. You got to 3.
Tony Storm,
Is there
definitely.
Orange Cassidy, maybe?
Yeah, Orange Cassidy. Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks increased his value for when he goes to negotiate with Nick Khan and Triple H.
Yep.
Yeah, there's another one. There's another one in there. There's another one. I know it's on the tip of my tongue. Some people will probably say Claudio. Sure. I mean, we'll be objective here. Claudio. I can't tell you one match that Claudio had, but it's all over social media, all over the internet. People love whatever Claudio's doing. I'm not too sure what it is. I don't keep tabs on Ring of Honor. Moxley had a banner year in 2022 when he stepped in when Punk got hurt the first time.
Yeah.
Swerve, Tony Storm, MJF. Ricky Starks.
We're naming the same like 4 people over and over again.
No, I'm just recapping.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy had a hell of a year.
Yeah.
Orange Cassidy was AEW's Gunther. He carried that Atlantic Championship, I think is the one he holds. He carried that, made it relevant. Christian Cage. I'll throw Christian Cage's name in the hat. Christian Cage, arguably doing the best work of his career, honestly.
Genuine oversight. I forgot Christian Cage. Yes, I'd say that's probably the 5 with AEW. Once again, to recap, so Christian Cage, Orange Cassidy, MJF, Tony Storm, and Swerve. I'd say that's your AEW like 5 wrestlers who you can point to and go, well, as messy as AEW was, as we'll get to, those wrestlers at least had pretty good years on the whole. They had years which they can look back on personally and think, I at least did something for good that year. That was a positive progression year in my career. That wasn't a flat line. That wasn't a decline in quality of my career in 2023. Kevin, with that being said, you mentioned CM Punk. He's currently the most viral, talked about, relevant wrestler. He just, was the big talking point on SmackDown, a great big promo, which we'll get to in an extra. Backstage segments against all these big-time stars. He's all the talk in wrestling. Kevin, I ask you this. AEW fired him with cause and chose Jungle Boy Jack Perry instead. Kevin, was that Tony Khan's... Was that the final blow to AEW? Was that something they will never recover from, do you think?
Honestly, it could be. Honestly. If losing CM Punk is what causes Warner Bros. Discovery to drop them and pick up Monday Night Raw, and that's it for AEW. Where do they go from Warner Bros? If they don't have TNT, what's next? They're not going to get on Fox or NBC or anything like that. So it very well could be that was a huge fork in the road decision that Tony Khan made to fire CM Punk. Ideally it's easy for us to say, right? We're sitting here as armchair quarterbacking, we're armchair booking, whatever you want to call it. Easy for us to say Tony Khan should have got the Young Bucks and CM Punk and Kenny Omega in one room and had them shake hands and squash it. If it was that easy, maybe it would have been done. Who knows? If you believe the rumors, CM Punk was supposed to meet with them like 2 or 3 times, and the Young Bucks blew him off. They messed up his travel accommodations. He had to get directions from fans in England to get to Wembley Stadium. So Clearly, they didn't want CM Punk there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Seeing how do I phrase this? Seeing on a WWE TV in 2023, seeing Cody Rhodes and CM Punk sharing a screen on SmackDown on Fox. That's the biggest death blow right there to AEW. Those two guys single-handedly are the embodiment of what AEW is. CM Punk created basically the butterfly effect of the pipe bomb created AEW. The pipe bomb is started this whole revolution, this whole wrestling matches first, high flying spots, the focus on wrestling. Then from that movement, AEW was born. Then Cody was the guy that went from WWE and was like, hey, I'm the son of a famous wrestler. I'm going to go wrestle in front of 100 people in bingo halls for Ring of Honor. And he gave Ring of Honor that relevancy and teamed up with the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and helped make those guys famous and big stars. And for Tony Khan to look at those two guys and say, peace out, don't need you, bro. It's kind of hard. Like, it's like if the Lakers in 2000 were like, yeah, we don't need Kobe, we don't need Shaq. We got Derek Fisher, we got Robert Horry, got washed up Gary Payton, Karl Malone. That's AEW right there on WWE's TV. That's AEW's biggest stars. I don't know. Is it the final blow? No. Sorry, I just say this. Is it the final blow? No, not yet. But it could very well be. Good.
No, but it's a symbolic, like, gut punch, almost, is what it feels like. When, as you say, everything you just said there, this is Cody and CM Punk. These guys embody what All Elite Wrestling was all about. Not is anymore, which we'll get to in a moment. Whatever they are now, we've got a whole question that's blisteringly worded about that. But, yeah, it's just that visual of CM Punk and Cody on Friday Night SmackDown, face-to-face. I'm just like, this is symbolic of AEW's identity's done. They're just, I don't know. That being said, Kevin, you answered that very well. That was a clip-worthy answer. That was glorious content, pal.
That
was great podcasting, I must say. Now, I want to ask you, let's take a moment. Now, we've done week by week, Kevin, as seemingly since CM Punk was fired with cause in what was, in my honest opinion, AEW's Tony Schiavone, or they'll put the butts in the seat moment where 600,000 people changed the channel in the Monday Night Wars. In what was AEW's moment where they fired CM Punk and Tony Khan announced this in Chicago and everyone was booing Tony Khan. He's like, ever since then, what's happened? Let's take a moment to relive the AEW's fall, like as in the September through November time period. So I'm just going to just to recap. Tony Khan gets embarrassed in the ratings versus NXT, loses by over 300,000 viewers, fresh off an Adam Copeland signing, then goes on Twitter and has a childlike meltdown, ranting at people with 14 followers on Twitter, going off rip. I genuinely, people were worried for his health. Wrestlers wanted to put down the phone. So Tony Khan has an all-time Twitter meltdown that embarrasses AEW. That happens. Overpaying Adam Copeland to wear Sting face paint and get nut-shotted and lose matches to Christian Cage on Dynamite. A big dream match that's 40 years in the making, according to Tony Schiavone on Dynamite, pal. Lose a match because of Nick Wayne's mother with a title belt shot to the head. Okay, so that happened. Woo energy. Ric Flair. Ric Flair with the infamous 18 to 28-year-olds, no boyfriends, no husbands, meet me at the hotel room. Woo. As Ric Flair's daughter is like double the age of the 18-year-olds. Ugh. That happened. So yeah, Ric Flair, Paul White as the big mysterious tag team partner. Guys, who's going to be the fourth man? Omega, Ibushi, Jericho. These heart and soul, well, not so much Ibushi, but Omega, Jericho, heart and soul AEW guys. Who's the fourth man? Is it Strickland? Is it a young talent, Ricky Starks? Is it Sammy Guevara, pal? I don't know. Is it a young Wheeler Yuta? It's Paul White, who can't move sideways, pal. Nothing screams revolution, new era, progressive AEW like Paul White at 54 as the fourth man, pal. The mystery tag team partner, pal. Then, I'm nearly done. Pal, I'm nearly done, then we'll pass to you. Who can forget the other big one? the Young Bucks doing a victory lap after dancing after firing the biggest draw in wrestling of the past decade. How CM Punk was fired and the Young Bucks are hitting the cha-cha slide in front of the Chicago faithful. Kevin, unbelievable. I'll pass it to you. That's AEW's fall. Quite literally, symbolically, metaphorically, the fall for AEW. That right there and much more. Kevin, talk to us.
Well, the most embarrassing, hands down, the most embarrassing of all, even more embarrassing than Tony Khan's meltdown, in my opinion, is the Young Bucks doing a victory lap after firing CM Punk in Chicago. Like, that is, like, brain dead. Like, do those guys have any brain cells here? You know? For one, let me just say this bluntly. Chicago is the background, the heart and soul, the heartbeat of AEW. They've had damn near like all of their big shows have been in Chicago. You know, they had All Out in Chicago. All In was in Chicago, the show that birthed AEW. You know, they've run Chicago all the time. CM Punk has been there. They've sold out arenas in Chicago. To go in there as the Young Bucks and to slap those fans in the face, that's just, it doesn't make any sense. Those two guys clearly approve that they're in for their own pocketbooks. They're lacing their pockets. They don't care about the health of AEW. As long as they get 7-figure checks at the end of the year, they're chilling. Yeah. They don't care what happens with AEW. That was proof of that if you ever needed it. Yeah. Like, that's a moment that if the Young Bucks were to try to get signed by Nick Khan and Paul Levesque, they would be like, bro, like, what is this? Go ahead.
I was just gonna, I mean, on that, why would Nick Khan and Paul Levesque even want the Young Bucks? Why?
Right.
Like, what even are they? Like, anyway, this being said, Kevin, before we close the book on AEW and just ask like one more question, then move on with the rest of the final part of this podcast and into around the world, I got to say this. To me, in the past, especially few months, just to recap on what I just listed with the fall for AEW, AEW has become the Detroit Pistons of wrestling. It's L after L after L after L. Tony Khan's Monty Williams 2-3 years ago, he was cooking. He was the head coach of the Phoenix Suns. They're in the NBA Finals. They got having a great run going. They got a big star like Devin Booker. They got all this going for them. They're cooking. Then things just don't go their way. Luka Doncic embarrasses the Phoenix Suns. In AEW's case, Cody leaves. Then OMG, Monty Williams leaves. It's just, it falls apart. Now he's in Detroit, taking all these L's. Meanwhile, Triple H, Triple H, Paul Levesque, overcame a shoot cardiac arrest, a shoot heart attack, Kevin, for this business.
Wow.
Kevin, wow. Triple H overcame a shoot heart attack, a pacemaker for this, and now he's cooking. WrestleMania 40 is going to be the most global, big-time WrestleMania in the history of the business. It could well be a top 3 WrestleMania ever. It's got the card and the talent to do so. Triple H is doing that after a near-death experience he openly talks about on an interview with BBC Sports. Triple H is doing that. Meanwhile, Tony Khan is the Monty Williams, the Detroit Pistons of wrestling, taking nothing but L's in November. Anyway, there we go.
Wow. Okay. I don't even know where to go with. I don't know where to go from there.
Well, Kevin, I'll just ask you. WWE is clearly, as we're saying, WWE is a good product again. Does that leave any room for AEW's, I guess, existence, or just them generally?
You know, the NBA, if they weren't putting on a good product, eventually another basketball organization would come out and be like, hey, we're better than the NBA. And if the NBA was like, oh, we need to get our stuff together and start making a good product again, there'd be no need for that alternative NBA, because everybody loves the NBA already. Everybody loves WWE. We all watched WWE as kids. Damn near everyone in the United States of America, at least, watched WWE as a kid. Everybody had at least one point in time where they watched wrestling or they played wrestling video games or something. AEW just doesn't have that. This is what it is. You know, it's not a knock on them. AEW is good for what it is. It does some good things and some bad things. But it just doesn't have that oomph that WWE has. WWE is the big brand, the box office, the brand that everybody recognizes. if they're firing on all cylinders and they're putting on great show after great show after great show, there's no need for AEW. AEW was born purely out of WWE sucking, basically, for a lot of years, and people wanting to see an alternative, wanting to see a better product. And AEW, if they're not going to be that alternative, or if they're not going to be unique or stand out, which they haven't in 2023, everything they've done has been WWE light. I mean, they stole Christian and Edge, put them on their TV, and was like, "Here, this is our main event stuff." Like, that's not what AEW is. That's
Yeah. Well, and then I will say, just closing the book on the AEW discussion for the show. Just some positives. I thought the MJF and Adam Cole thing that deserves a mention. That was legitimately entertaining. That was just a really good story. For what they've told of it, where it goes from here, what happens with this devil thing, where Adam Cole returns or not, whatever they do, who knows? But what we did get, those segments were legitimately entertaining. With Adam Cole and MJF, that was like the highlight of AEW through the whole middle of the year for 2023. Was that really? So that I want to say. I'll list a few more things, Kevin, then pass to you if you want to add in more. MJF and Daniel Bryan's Iron Man match, I think was AEW's best match of the year that I watched. I thought that was just fantastic. Genuinely speaking, that was just a great match. It went the distance, pal. It went an hour. It went into overtime. MJF ends up retaining. That was just a great match, a great main event of the show. Those are like my big sort of positives. AEW, it was MJF's Iron Man match. It was MJF's Adam Cole storyline, and then CM Punk on Collision. For what we did actually get of that, I thought I was entertained by it. I was watching, I was watching Collision when CM Punk was on there, which I got a feeling going forward to 2024, 2025. I'm not going to be watching much Collision because they don't give you much to really look forward to if you're not a diehard fan of just AEW generally. But yeah, CM Punk stuff, the real world title, his Ricky Starks storyline, what they did there, again, Ricky Steamboat involved, but just generally stuff with Samoa Joe. Thought that was a positive as well. So there were positives AEW this year. It wasn't just all bad, AEW sucks, WWE's all perfect. No, there were legitimate positives AEW. Sadly, in the second half of the year, though, it was few and far between. More often than not, AEW would give you one or two good matches on a show, and let the rest of you go, oh, why are they doing this? Why are they doing that? Orange Cassidy, as well, as we said earlier, was great. Tony Storm had a good year. We discussed the superstars specifically. Kevin, anything else on that, or you just want to move on?
Yeah, I mean, we talked Tony Storm, we talked Strickland. Their rise was incredible. Trying to think. I mean, Orange Cassidy was fun. Revolution, I thought, was a great show. Like the beginning of 2023 for AEW, I thought was pretty good. Ricky Starks looked like a big star with that feud, MJF going into the new year. Then the Punk MJF, I mean not Punk, Bryan MJF match that you mentioned. Yeah, I mean, AEW's positives, they were few and far between in 2023, and it's not even to be mean. It's just is what it is.
Yep.
There's not a lot there, realistically. There's good matches on AEW every week, sure. Good matches on Ring of Honor every week. Aside from some good wrestling matches, not a whole lot to be excited about. There's nothing really that makes me want to tune in to Dynamite every week.
Well, yeah, Kevin, I will mention the death match, Swerve and Hangman. When we did a whole extra on that 2 weeks ago, that was a big notable thing as well.
Yes.
Be remiss if you mention that. So I guess that's really all AEW, and that ties in with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor is just like a subsidy body of AEW, basically. So don't need to cover much more on that. I want to discuss a little bit of NXT before we close this out, pal. NXT deserves a shout out this year. Shawn Michaels did a legitimately really good job throughout most of the year.
Yes.
Obviously, the most notable NXT was the one they went head-to-head with Dynamite, and then they had a lot of the shows, Cena, Undertaker, Cody, LA Knight, got like 970,000, whatever they did. Dynamite barely cracked 600. So there was that. That show was great, generally across the board. Becky Lynch's NXT work and just what she did, putting over Tiffany Stratton and the future of the NXT women was great. The NXT women's division was decent, I thought. Across the men's side of it, Bron Breakker's developing nicely. Carmelo Hayes is developing nicely. They got a good little base of talent building there. If you watch an NXT show, I didn't watch too many myself, I'll be honest. But everyone who does watch them, I hear fairly good things. I'm not hearing that it's meh. I'm hearing that generally it's good. Continuity makes sense. So shout out Sean and everyone involved in NXT, pal. There you go.
Carmelo Hayes. That's another breakout candidate. 2023. Carmelo Hayes had a fantastic year. Being the NXT champion for a while, yeah. That was a good shout. NXT was really firing on all cylinders. Me personally, I can't come around to watch NXT. Just can't find the time. I would like to. Ideally, it seems like they're doing a lot of fun, good stuff. But from what I've seen of it, it's really good and seems to be in good hands. And yeah, can't wait to see what the future has in store for those guys. That crop, the NXT crop of talent was Tiffany Stratton and Strickland, Wes Lee, Ron Breaker, Cora Jade. There's just a ton of talent down there right now.
Absolutely. And then, yeah, Kevin, I'll round this out with one sort of just big question. We love our, like, what's going to be the legacy of sort of questions.
Yeah.
This is just a legacy question for 2023. I'll ask you. So it's sort of a three-part question, but it's all really the same thing. How are you going to remember 2023? What's the legacy of 2023 for wrestling? And, just on the WWE basis, if you want to throw this in here, it's been the best year since when? So,
Well, to answer the last question, I would say my mind goes to 2014. I would say 2014 was the last great year WWE. There was a ton of good stuff. Brock Lesnar was running wild. The streak was ended. The Yes movement. Super Cena, like coming to an end. Yeah. There was a ton of great stuff. Sting.
Survivor Series had an insane ending as well that year. Sting, the Ziggler thing. Yeah, that's a great shout.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, that's the only year really that comes to mind. Like a lot of people like 2016, like SmackDown. I don't know. 2008 was also a great year, but I would say, yeah, 2023 was the best year since 2014 from a WWE standpoint. Granted, it doesn't have a lot of competition. If you look back at that whole 11-year span, the grand scheme of things, not a lot of competition.
Yeah, I'll stand by the take I made that it's the best year since 2008. That's where I stand on it. I lived 2014. 2023 just had, the PLEs and everything we've discussed. It just felt like there were more superstars as well, more big stars week to week. 2014 specifically had some lulls, especially the second half of the year. 2023 had a little bit, but not so much, I feel like. But yeah, it's pretty close between 2023 2014. I'd say 2023 is the best year since 2008. To me, I remember this year really is the year WWE broke AEW. Really, the year AEW became redundant was this year. WWE became just the go-to for wrestling again, which is a pretty cool thing for us as creators. Yes, the AEW thing was awesome. I say it like it's gone out of business, but no, it was awesome in the sense of, yeah, it's an alternative. It's something new. We've had years of Dean Ambrose getting needles up his poopy hole. We've had years of that crap. Now it's something new. It's something, WWE is really bouncing and bubbling and vibrant again. So yeah, that's going to be the legacy of 2023 for me. The year WWE really got their mojo back and really just got the ball rolling, the machine going. And hopefully now we get years and years of WWE as they are now and bigger, better, more records, more amazing shows, more memories, power, more international events, more new stars created. The WWE is back rolling. So that's really how I remember 2023. AEW has just been a means to an end to get WWE from point A back to point B again. That's how I view 2023.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. This was the year WWE became the big brand again, as I said already. Yep. 2023 was an incredible year for PLEs. I think that's another part of the legacy that we're going to look back at this. This is probably, I don't know if I'm going to be getting too crazy here, but could this be the peak of PLEs? I don't know. That's a hot take. Like, is it possible to replicate what they did this year from a calendar year standpoint? I mean, Survivor Series was a banger. Royal Rumble was a banger. WrestleMania was a banger. Backlash, Money in the Bank, Clash of Champions, Elimination Chamber. That's 7 of 12 PLEs that were really solid shows, like 8 out of 10 and up. That's 7 out of 12. That's pretty incredible.
I think they're going to replicate that this coming year. Royal Rumble, you'll be there. That's going to be massive.
Yes.
That's just going to be the stars on show that event is going to be nuts. Elimination Chamber, I'll be there. That's going to be insane. That'll be probably Cody punching his ticket in an all-time great Elimination Chamber match. Rhea Ripley in a huge match. That's going to be amazing. 75,000 of us there, pal, in Perth. WrestleMania 40 is going to be nuts. Backlash is in France. That's going to be cool. I imagine the audience there is pretty hungry for some wrestling, pal. That's going to be great. Bash at Berlin. They're doing a show in Germany. That's going to be good. So hopefully SummerSlam. This is the chance 2024 has to be better than 2023. SummerSlam this year wasn't the greatest. It just didn't click. Partly Ronda, Shayna Baszler derailed the momentum. Partly Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso going 37 minutes, and everyone knew Jey Uso wouldn't win the match. That didn't help either. But yes, Survivor Series this past year, as you say, was a banger. There's a strong base. I agree with you. It's a strong base to try and beat. I think 2024 will. You don't seem so sure. I believe 2024 will be better than 2023 for the PLEs. So
we'll see, pal. So yeah, overall thoughts on 2023. As we said, just to close out. Great year of pro wrestling. Honestly, I mean, it's great to be talking about this stuff.
Yeah.
Again, it's great to have like good content to talk about. It was kind of exhausting, like coming on here and like, okay, we got to talk about Pat McAfee confronting Vince McMahon. Oh, great content, bro. Now we have like good stuff, and I hope AEW sticks around because AEW gives us great content as well. Much as we make fun of it and talk bad about it, they give us great content. It's a gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
But whether it's CM Punk punching rich kids in the back, or it's Tony Khan having a meltdown, or it's Adam Copeland living out childhood fantasies with Sting, AEW is always a good talking point. I hope it stays around for a long, long time. Wrestling's more fun when there's two big companies going at it.
Yeah, and I mean we'll cover this stuff all in our big calls and our shows to come in the next few weeks, months. But yeah, 2024. If 2023 is anything going, 24 is going to be a continuation, which is pretty awesome from our standpoint. I mean, I'm getting PTSD with you saying that stuff from a year and a half, 2 years ago. Oh, Pat McAfee, the big talking point of the week. Pat McAfee addressed Vince McMahon on his show. Didn't have him on. Just Pat McAfee talked about Vince McMahon on the Pat McAfee show. Oh, but what happened on Raw? Oh, Charlotte kicked a referee in the ribs. What about SmackDown? Oh, Ronda Rousey cut a promo. She called Charlotte a bitch. And Brock and Roman no-showed. Oh, and we're trying to get an hour podcast out of that?
Yo, all right, pal. You ready?
Yes. I am ready, pal. I got the globe. It's spinning. Kevin, where do you want to take us? I think already this has been a great podcast.
Yes.
We're going around the world.
Fantastic podcast, pal.
What do you want to do here? You raised this saying we need to do around the world. I've got a topic. We need to discuss this.
Oh yeah, this is great. So a few months ago, you so kindly for the listeners, you showed us some of the things that you eat for a meal prep.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly, you said that you make like a steak or a chicken or something, and then you get like the instant rice, get some lettuce, right, some beans, some cheese, right?
Yeah.
So I looked at that. I watched back that segment when it took place, and I was like, I'm gonna try the Jimmy meal, pal. I'm gonna go to the store, get some beans, get some rice. I got some brown rice, steak, cheese, lettuce. I'm gonna go make this bowl, pal. And I remember I said to you, I was like, the way I grew up with the rice and beans that I eat with like heavy seasoning and sauce and like grease, I was just like, I don't think I could eat this, bro. Like, I don't think I could eat it the way you eat it. So I got a can of pigeon peas, right? Got some instant brown rice, made some chicken breast, got some like low fat like cheddar cheese, whatever it was, mozzarella cheese. And I did not know what to do with these beans. I had no idea. I've never like these. They were like this big.
Oh wow! Yep.
Just having dry beans. Is that how you eat them? Do you eat them dry out of the can, just straight from the can, or do you cook them?
No, the ones I have are just like just in the can. I'll pour the juice out in a sink and then just like dump all the beans to just eat them. Yeah. So dry.
Yeah, exactly. So I tried.
I mean, the beans themselves are wet. The beans themselves aren't like just dry, pass up. But like I don't cook them.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, I tried that. So I tried that. I drained out the can. I was like, I'm gonna put these beans, in this bowl, food. And oh man, I had a tough time.
Really?
I couldn't finish it, bro. I couldn't. I can't eat beans like that. I can't eat beans right out the can. I gotta have sazon and adobo, and I know none of you guys know what I'm talking about, but I gotta have seasonings on it, sauce, potato. I like a potato and some ham and like pork in the beans. I tried desperately
Yeah.
I tried for like at least a week, I want to say, of doing this every day. Couldn't make
Of
it.
what? Making my rations and trying to get through them.
Yes, trying my best. I couldn't finish a meal, bro. I was like, these beans are disgusting. Um, the rice. I mean, the rice
Wow.
isn't bad. I don't mind the instant rice. I like the yellow rice. Have you ever had the instant yellow rice?
Uh, no, not that I can recall, but
Yeah, I
right.
like the instant yellow rice. I like the jasmine rice. It's not bad.
Yep.
Um, so fast forward now. Last
Mhm,
week, I'm making a meal prep, right?
mhm.
So I'm cooking with my lady. For those of you who don't know, if you've never been with a Spanish woman, I don't know what kind of women you like, Jimmy. I don't know what kind of women are out there in Australia. You ever been with a Spanish woman?
I can't say I have, no, but carry on.
Are there a lot of them out there in Australia?
Not real. Well, not where I am. No, no. But certain parts of Australia there are, yes, but not where I'm at. So I can't say from experience. But would you recommend?
Yes, I would recommend if you like a little craziness in your life, if you like a little spice, if you want have an exciting personal life, I would
Mhm.
recommend that.
Yeah.
If you're a guy that likes like missionary pal, as Roman Reigns said, and you like same thing every day, boring, I would not
Mhm,
recommend a Spanish woman. I would stay away from them. Um,
mhm.
so one thing you never do with a Spanish woman is you never ever get in the way of them in the kitchen ever. Those of you who know, never get in the way. So I find this recipe and I'm like, yeah, I want to try this meal prep. And it's like some steak, uh, seasoned steak with like garlic, parsley, like chili
Mhm.
powder, whatever, paprika.
Yep.
Um, and then it was some pasta. As I talked about the last around the world, I went to buy this
Mhm.
pasta, pal.
Yep.
Delayed our recording. You nearly lost a vessel. You woke up at 3:30 in the morning for no reason because I was standing in a line in a grocery store for an hour and a half trying to buy 10 items so I can make pasta the next day after we recorded. Um, so so we're here. We're making this pasta. Um, Pasta did not turn out particularly well, and I'm only saying this because she admitted it that it did not come out well. I would never ever tell her that her pasta came out badly because I like my life and I don't want to die. So um, I would never ever say that. So um, I'm trying this meal prep, right? And I'm like, the steak, phenomenal. I don't know. How do you like your steak cooked?
My steak. Honestly, this might be a hot take. I don't care. I don't mind. I'll eat any sort of steak. Like I just like just eating. So
You like it
I don't really
heavily
mind.
seasoned? Like, what do you like on it? Are you like
Oh,
a
from a
one
seasoning
sauce guy? Like,
standpoint, now based off my lunch and what you've tried, do you think I'm into heavy seasoning, or do you think I'm into just having it as it's cooked, pal?
yeah, you
What
just
do you
like it
think?
as it's cooked. I assume a little salt and pepper, maybe if you're
Yeah,
feeling a
that
little
is salt, pepper.
crazy.
Just keep just put a bit on there. Nothing too zesty, nothing too steamy.
Yeah. So okay. So I'm gonna tell you what I ate. I'm gonna tell you if you think this is healthy or not. So I saw
Okay.
This Instagram reel, and it's like, oh, try this recipe. So it was mac and cheese, low fat cream cheese, low fat cheese, other stuff in there, Asian spice seasoning. Yeah, the steak with garlic and pepper. The guy said, oh, one serving of this, one meal of this is like under 600 calories. Does that seem feasible to you? That seem real. Does that seem real?
That's under 600 calories.
Yeah.
No way. What? No.
I mean it's low fat cream cheese, pasta
Okay.
shells. I don't know. I don't know. Didn't have a vegetable with it or anything.
Questionable. I wouldn't think so. Like that just sounds. It sounds like a heavy feed. It sounds like it's not a 600 calorie little. Just little feed. That sounds like it'll stay with you. So I don't know about that. I don't know about
Yeah, I
that.
don't know. So I'm eating this and I'm like, this is really good. And I want to make this again, but I'm like, I don't think this is healthy.
Okay.
Like, I don't know. So I'm eating it with like rice and like vegetables. And I guess that's okay. But I'm
Yeah.
like, but the steak has so much seasoning in it that I'm like, I don't know. I don't believe this guy. I don't believe this Instagram
Yeah.
guy.
Pal, you're the victim of a conspiracy rig job. There were not that many calories in the steak, pal. You're being lied to. The conspiracy of wrestling uncovered, pal.
Yeah. Yeah, so to summarize, I tried this new meal prep mac and cheese didn't come out great, and yeah, the steak came out great though. But I don't know. What do you think for meal prep? Like, do you like overall? You're I know you have your philosophy. Is that what you eat? Do you ever like waver from that, or do you eat that same meal?
I'm a creature of habit. No, I sort of stick with the same stuff. Like I'll have the same breakfast each day, same lunch. Dinners change, obviously. I don't eat just the absolute same thing every day, but generally, yeah, I'll have that pretty much most days. And with how my palate's set up now, I don't eat as much fast food sort of nowadays. Like, yeah, I don't get the Subway every other day. I don't get KFC every other day. I might have that stuff once every other week. So really, my palate is now like, oh, if it's 11:30, 12 o'clock, oh, I'm hungry, I'm hungry. And then the thought of what I do, pal, I heat my meat up in that case, whether it's steak, whether it's chicken, whatever. Then what I'll do, I'll put it in my container. I'll get 3 bits of cheese, melt the cheese through it. So that really gives it something. Is it the spice, the seasoning, the herbs, the yada yada you have? Hell no, it's not. It's still white boy food, pal. It's a pasty white palate. But it gives it something really nice. It melts the cheese through, you get some lettuce in there, some nice, fresh, crisp, like some iceberg lettuce, some really good lettuce. Oh, stop.
Iceberg lettuce. Oh.
Oh, iceberg. Oh, amazing. I love it. Hey, you're talking to a white boy, pal. I am white, pal.
Yeah, this is like the embodiment of a culture clash right here.
Yep. This is why we go around the world, pal.
Yeah.
This is why we go around the world.
Oh yeah. Yeah, pal. I mean, that was an interesting experience when I tried your meal prep. I was like, so it was night and day. It was like I tried your meal prep, did this, and I tried this steak with this heavily seasoned steak. I was like, I like this area a little more, but I just don't know if it's healthy. And I don't know. I feel like I don't. If I'm gonna eat like steak with a bunch of seasoning and a bunch of grease, like I might as well just eat pork and rice and beans and. You know what I mean? Stuff I
and
like.
on that, just a general comment, just generally, all the seasoning, all the extra stuff. I mean, you talked about this yourself. It's how weight gets put on a lot easier because I've talked about this. I struggle with putting on weight, and you can sort of see why when it comes to actually what you eat. If you don't have the seasonings, the extra calories, all that other stuff, it slaps on a couple hundred extra calories in some of these cases with all the extra sort of bits and bobs that make it taste better and probably more generally enjoyable for most people. But I don't partake in that, pal, and I'm a pasty white boy. So
there you go. Yeah, I guess I just got to try a little salt and pepper, pal.
Oh, maybe not. It doesn't sound like it's your palate, pal, and that's okay, pal. Elite Heat caters to the palatable wrestling fans. That's all we need.
There it is, pal. Well, I guess we're out of here for this week. We're like an hour and a half in.
Yep.
Been talking wrestling, pal. It's been a hell of a show. Thanks to everyone who listened to us. We'll talk to you on the next one.